Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be wrapping up our canning shelves. We built the base of this shelf in the first video. Second video was the top section, and now we're going to be painting and finishing this off. I've got a whole bunch of tape and some plastic. I need to tape off everything I do not want painted, and that will protect the wood that's actually going to be stained afterwards. And I'm also going to be putting up a plastic curtain here because I'm going to be spraying these shelves, and that causes a lot of overspray, a lot of paint dust and fumes too that I don't want to get throughout the house. So I'm going to make sure I tape everything off. This is going to take at least a couple hours to tape each of these shelves and all the exposed wood that I want after I'm done painting. So I'm going to speed through this real quick, but if you're interested in seeing how we built this wall of shelves, I'll leave the link to those two videos at the end of this video as well as in the description. You can click through and watch that if you haven't seen it already. Once I have all the tape done, I'm going to go around all the areas that are going to be painted and patch any nail holes or any screws that are exposed, just so that I have a nice clean paint job once I'm finished. For the paint sprayer, I'm going to be using this one right here. I'll leave the link down in the description if you're interested, and right here on the video. But this is a great little sprayer. I've used it for quite a few of my projects. Fairly inexpensive, but it saves a ton of time and does a really good job giving you a nice even coat of paint. Now I'm just about ready to get started. Everything is taped and plastic over that I don't want painted. I've patched all the nail holes, hung a plastic curtain up, and I put a fan in the window nearby just to suck all the fumes out. Now I quickly saw that I was getting completely covered with paint after just 8 of these shelves. I painted with the sprayer before and didn't really have much of an issue, but when you're spraying in such a tight area, the wind from the sprayer blows the paint right in your face. So I would definitely recommend putting on some clothes that you don't care about. Long sleeves is great, hat, safety glasses, a respirator for the fumes, and some gloves. But you could also go a step further and purchase a paint suit that's disposable. I'll leave the link down below. They're really nice. I've used them before, and I will definitely be getting one of those suits when I go to paint the entire basement. After I let the paint dry for several hours, I'm going to go through and do the second coat of paint. And one thing with the sprayers you'll want to keep an eye on is making sure that there's no drips. It's easy to overload a section with paint and it will end up dripping. The time to fix that is when it's still wet. So after I did the second coat, I went through with the paintbrush and just smoothed out any of those drips. Now all the painting's done, I'm going to move the paint sprayer over to a bucket of water to clean it out, and there is quite a bit of paint still trapped in the pump as well as the hose. So what I'm going to do is turn the pump on and spray all the paint back into the bucket, and what I'm doing is spraying it on the side of the bucket, and once it starts turning to water, you'll notice it's a lot runnier. Just shut it off, and the rest you can just keep rinsing out with some warm water or some paint solvent if you need to. After 4 hours passed since I sprayed the second coat of paint on these shelves, I'm going to go through and remove the painter's tape and all the plastic on these shelves. I really wanted to highlight this wood. This is from a sweet gum tree that was in our backyard. I cut down and milled, and it's been drying for a while, but now I'm going to start using it on woodworking projects. But it's a really beautiful wood, and once you stain it, that grain really pops. So I'm excited to see what this looks like when it's all finished. To stain the shelves, I'm going to be using this Butcher Block stain and oil. This will be great. It'll soak into the wood, stain it, darken it a bit, but it's also durable, so if it ever gets scratched or starts wearing a bit, I can add another layer of Butcher Block oil to seal it and protect it. Now this step might have been easier if I had stained all of this before I painted, but I was a little concerned that the oil wouldn't allow the paint to stick if I accidentally got the stain anywhere else. So I'm going to get a little bit of stain here on the edges. That's a little hard not to do, but I'm going to quickly wipe that off with some paper towel, and that will keep it from really messing up the paint or anything. You could also tape off the edges so that you don't get any stain on the paint, but after taping for several hours and taking a couple hours just to peel off the tape, I'm ready to be done taping and just want to stain this real quick. So this is actually a little bit faster to just wipe off anything you get on the paint and not have to worry about taping. Since we've had this house, we've really wanted to fix up the basement, but there's been always other priorities, other things that need to be fixed on the house. If you follow the channel, there's been a ton of projects, but this shelf really marks the start of our basement renovation. So we're really excited about finishing this off, but there's a lot of work ahead. I will update you guys on each step of the process, so keep an eye out for future videos. All the staining and painting's finished, so I'm going to take down this plastic curtain, and I'm actually going to be saving this for the next time I'm painting. We're going to be painting the entire ceiling and walls of the basement, so I will be using that later. But the shelves need to dry now for at least a week. I don't want to put any canning stuff on it until that is fully dried, or else it could end up sticking and peeling off the paint. So we're going to start moving some of the things onto the top shelves. Those shelves don't really need to dry, it's just the stain oil. It's perfectly fine to start stacking on after a couple hours. We really enjoy canning, but we haven't had a ton of room to store all of that. And we have a lot of produce from our garden that we want to can to preserve it for a longer period of time. So it will be really nice to have more storage space. This is plenty for what we need. Plus our pantry upstairs is very small, and so we can easily store all of our overflow stuff, or anything that's too large or takes up a lot of space can be down here out of the way and give us more room for the things we use all the time upstairs. Alright guys, that just about finishes up the video for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Now this is the end of the video, but this isn't final how this is all laid out, because this has messed up our entire basement, and with projects like this it always gets worse before it starts to get better. And the next project we're going to be working on is fixing our floors. These floor joists aren't strong enough to span the distance that they're going, so I need to put in some sister joists to strengthen this all up, and in the next video I'll be showing you guys how to do that. This is a big project and kind of a pain to have to do, but I don't want to fix up the basement without fixing everything, because I don't want to have to tear this apart again once I have everything cleaned up. Then in the next video after that, we're going to be replacing all of the lighting, because as we're putting in those new sister joists, we've had to tear out a lot of the lighting and redo some of the wiring. So that's a perfect time to put in some nice lighting that we want to keep and get rid of these bulky can lights. Now thanks so much for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. I want to give a big shout out to all my supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and making videos like this one possible. And if anybody's interested, you can go check out my Patreon link down in the description below, and you can check that out.